Today we are going to make Thai yellow curry for our dinner. So I've got my little helpers here. Tegan's going to be preparing the vegetables using claw method to make sure her fingers are no nails at all visible, tucked under, and that's no thumb as well, cutting all the way through and putting it in her bowl. And then this is for our food waste bin. I have dry fried some spices. I've got cumin and coriander here. We're making quite a lot because we've got a few people for dinner. And Finn is going to crush these seeds, which I've dry fried, which means no oil in the pan, just to toast the seeds to enhance the flavour. So he's going to crush those in our pestle and mortar, okay, grinding it up. And then we're going to add some turmeric to that. We're going to slice in some chilli. I've got some ginger and I've got some turmeric root. We've got some lovely lemongrass for flavour here, and we've got some spring onions. Currently there's no coriander in the shops, so we are going to have to make do without. I'm just going to pop this down. Okay, that's it. And then a little trick when you're peeling your ginger, you can use a spoon just to peel off the ginger like that, so you waste less. So we're going to have some root ginger, and I've got some turmeric as well, which I'm going to peel in exactly the same way.
Is that enough?
It's going to be a powder. Oh, I can smell all those lovely flavours. So we've got cumin seeds and coriander seeds in there because we're making a Thai yellow curry today. Well done, Tegan. Right, so, well, good job, Finny, that's it. Hold it still because it's quite heavy. You don't want that dropping off the table. Okay, so I'm going to use ginger there. We've got some garlic. I'm just going to peel off some turmeric as well. We can get this now fresh in the shops, which is lovely. It's lovely if you just have, make your own herbal tea actually with a few slices of turmeric and a little bit of lemon or lime. Okay, so I'm going to take that off. There we go. Okay. There we go. So I'm going to use. Is it a powdery? Does it need a little bit more maybe? And then we're going to use a really fine grater just to grate that in to a bowl. Okay. So we've got our turmeric, we've got our lemongrass. If you haven't got fresh turmeric, that's absolutely fine. You can just use some powdered turmeric. Right, so turmeric is what gives it the yellow colour, making it a Thai yellow curry. Turmeric is very good for you. It's got lots of fantastic properties and micronutrients. Yeah, I think we're good with that. Do you want to peel the garlic for me, Finn? Two cloves of that. So you've just got to take the outer skin off. That's it. You can actually use, this to just give it a little bit of a crush like that, and then you can pull off the skin easier. And actually these really fine graters are fantastic because you can grate your garlic like this as well rather than a crusher, and it makes it into a nice paste. So we've got that there, we've got some nice ginger, we've got some turmeric, we're going to have some garlic when Finn's done with that. For our lemongrass, it's really lovely fresh flavours. We're going to just take the tip off. I just keep them pretty much as is, other than I bash the back of it, just to soften it slightly, and then cut down the middle. Use your bridge here, be very careful you don't slip. This is a great big knife. You might want to get your mum or dad to cut this for you. And we'll split it down the middle, and that's just so that we can release all that lovely flavour, lemongrass flavour. Smell that? Finn, have a smell? Mmm. Yeah, so we can release that flavour into our sauce, and then because this is very fibrous, it doesn't break down, so we're going to take that out at the end once the lovely flavour is infused into our curry. We've got some fantastic lime leaves as well, which makes it really, really fresh. As well, so we're going to crush a few of those and pop those in. Just two, they're quite strong, so two will be enough for our curry. And then we've got some spring onions, we're going to do peppers, got some mushrooms, And what else do I think we could put in? We've got onion, obviously. We're going to pop some onion into our... yes, you can pop them into there and crush those up. Okay, so when we're doing our onion, okay, I'm going to show you a quick trick. To cut your onion in half, you can just take the tip of your onion off like that. You keep the root attached because that holds the whole onion together. Use your bridge then on the flattest surface to separate your onion. Cut it in half. Okay, just make sure the outer skin is off because the outer skin obviously won't soften down. Okay. And then we're going to slice it down into sections like this. Okay, and then into little, well, we're keeping it quite chunky. We don't want them really fine, but you could make it very fine. I'm going to put that in with my peppers. That can then go in the food waste. So we keep the root a little bit more with the garlic. So we keep the root nice and attached so that we can, so it holds all the onion petals together. There we go. So we've got our peppers in there. Well done, Tegan. Okay. You guys have done a great job. So we're doing chicken. I used mini chicken fillets because they're just nice and tender. And our favourite at the moment, well, you like red rice as well, but Thai sticky rice, you like that, don't you? So we'll move over to the stoves and cook it all off. Fantastic. Yes, that looks good. Yum. Right, so we've got everything prepared, which is really important because you don't want to be halfway through and realise you have got something that you still need to prepare. I'm just going to show you how to open a can of coconut milk. Definitely ask your parents first, especially if you are in year 4 and you haven't, or year 5 or 6 if you've never done it before. These often have, all tins often have one of those little right, boys, I'm just going to show you, we've got everything prepared here ready to go, which is really important so that I don't have to go backwards and forwards trying to prepare things in the middle of my cooking. To open a can, be really careful, ask your parents first. I'm going to use a tin opener. Obviously, once I've opened it, I've just clicked that on, I'm twisting the tin opener around and around. Obviously, as it opens, it's going to create very, very razor sharp like edges. So you need to be really careful when you're trying to get anything out of there, when you're picking it up, and especially when you're washing it before you recycle it, that you don't cut yourself. So I'm going to put that to one side. I'm going to have that over here. So we're ready to go. I've got my sticky rice in a pan. It takes about 15 minutes. So I'm going to put the lid on. I'm going to bring it to a simmer and then turn it down. And I'm going to put a timer on my oven so that I know 15 minutes it's going to be ready. I'm then going to turn off the heat totally and just leave it to steam for at least 5 minutes. And then you'll have your lovely steamed sticky rice, hopefully perfectly cooked, in time with your yellow Thai curry. So we're going to pop this on the heat. So I've got my lovely wok here, which is a real traditional wok that you get in most Thai and Chinese restaurants. Very, very cheap to get actually. There's lots of them around, especially in Asian supermarkets and that sort of thing. So I've got the gas on underneath on full because I want to get it extremely hot before I start adding things. It's the same as stir fry. You don't want to be cooking it for a huge amount of time. I wouldn't put the oil in before I start heating it because you'll just get smoke all over the place and very, very hot oil, which obviously is not what we want. I've got my pan handles to the side so that we don't knock them off. And I would have my extractor on, but obviously I've got the camera on so you won't hear me. Right, so firstly we're going to start cooking our meat. I've got chicken breasts here. They're just the chicken fillets. I've left them whole. You can cut them into little pieces. But I don't tend to do that because we can do it while we're eating. and I think it keeps it quite nice and tender. Anyway, so we're going to pop, you can see that starts smoking now, that pan, so it's nice and hot, which is perfect. I want it really hot. Obviously be careful when you add the oil, and most importantly, when you've got hot oil in your pan, you want to make sure that you don't drop things in from a dizzy height, because it could splash up and hurt and burn you. So you want to make sure that you're careful. I use my tongs just to place things into the wok like that. Okay, it will be quite smoky. Make sure you've got an adult with you, or you've asked an adult so that they know what you're doing. Okay, so we're cooking our chicken. I'm going to move the pan a little bit just to make sure that oil moves around my pan. Like that. It's going to spit up a bit. As it cooks, the chicken will release from the pan. Okay, so those are chicken breast fillets. I'm going to season it with a little bit of salt. Just sprinkling that on there. There we go. And we've got our rice. I'm not going to keep taking the lid off because you want it to steam. Remember that so you don't cause cross-contamination, the plate that you have the raw chicken on has to be washed. You're not going to use it to put the cooked chicken back on. So I'm going to put this straight back into the dishwasher, and I'm going to grab myself a fresh plate, and I'm going to wash my tongs while I wait for that to cook, so I'm not causing cross-contamination. Okay. So your meat is going to be take the longest to cook. Everything else, all the sauce and the vegetables are going to be quick because it's time, so we want to keep it all nice and fresh and crunchy. We struggled a bit with ingredients because I was going to put some party mushrooms, or some mushrooms, and some coriander in. There we go. So now you can see it started caramelizing the meat. Just going to turn it over. Okay, I'm going to hold the handle. Okay. Now remember, your meat is going to cook further in the sauce, so I'm just browning it off a little bit. You don't have to brown it. You can add it straight into your sauce and just cook it straight into the sauce if you want to. That's not a problem, especially with chicken or fish. Okay, so I'm just doing that a little bit, taking it out. You can see it's still not cooked, but as I said, it's going to cook in my sauce shortly. I'm taking that out. I'm going to put it to the side. The volumes I've given you in your recipe will be much less than this. Okay, right, so that's to one side. Right, you can see now my rice has started to steam over here. So I'm now going to turn it right down so it doesn't boil over, but simmers away. Now my pan, I'm going to put a little bit more oil. Remember, this is hot, hot, hot now. So be really careful. Again, when I add my vegetables, I am not going to throw it in and run away because the oil might splash on me. I'm gently going to place it in and then stir it. Now, if I hadn't have dry fried my spices before, then I would put the spices in first, but I have dry fried them before Finn crushed them, so we are not going to do that. Right, so we're just going to give these a little bit of colour, the vegetables. Okay, so let them get a bit of colour. There we go. There we go, those look delicious. All that lovely vegetables in our fruit and vegetable section of the Eat Well guide with all our lovely vitamins and minerals. Okay, so I'm going to add our spices. So in they go. So we've got our spices and our garlic going in there. Followed by our ginger, our turmeric, our lemongrass. Okay, oh yum, look at all of that. Okay. Okay, so those flavours are all infusing nicely now. Okay. I'm now going to add my chicken back in. I'm going to stir that up. You can see it's getting a nice coating of that spice now. You don't have to make this hot. I haven't put chilli in yet. I'm going to add fresh chilli afterwards for those in the house who like chilli. It's obviously got quite a lot of spice, but just not heat yet. Okay. I'm going to put a little bit of fish sauce in Asian cooking. This is adds the seasoning or the salt and peppery flavour. Okay, now this is obviously a bit, well, fish sauce is fermented fish shells and things like that, so always check that no one's allergic to fish if you're going to serve that, or a vegetarian or vegan. And then I'm going to add my lovely coconut milk into my curry, a little bit of water, just to give it a bit more liquid to steam in. There we go. So we're going to wait for that to come to the boil or the simmer. And we're going to simmer that away for about 10 minutes. I'm going to add the spring onions just at the end, same as if I was using fresh coriander, which I would be if I had it, because it doesn't take long to cook and you want to keep it nice and crunchy. So there we go. So that's just going to simmer away while our rice is steaming. Okay. There we go. It's going to take a little while just to come back to the heat. The recipe will be attached and the volumes will be smaller, so you can double them up if you want to make a bigger volume. Like I have. Right, and now we're done. And if you like, you can add some lime juice, a little bit of lime zest, but really you can play around with it. You can add other spices if you want. You can add a bit of cumin if you want. Well, we've added cumin, sorry, cardamom if you want to. If you look at Vietnamese cooking and Thai cooking, there are differences, but there are also lots of flavors that use the same. So you might want to add, if you're going to go down that route, you can add a little bit of cinnamon if you wanted to. You can really play around with it. This would be lovely with seafood as well. It doesn't take long to cook, so you could use that as an alternative. Okay, so that's starting to bubble away. The lemongrass is going to have infused nicely with that now to give it a really fresh flavour. Just give it another couple of minutes to simmer and then we'll add our spring onions. Our rice has got another 4 minutes and then we'll steam that. We'll turn it off the heat and leave it to steam. Okay, putting in our spring onions. At this point, the chicken is almost there. You want to make sure your chicken's cooked through, obviously. Okay. If you want to cook this quicker, you can make the chicken pieces much smaller, because obviously that will increase the surface area of the chicken, so it'll cook more rapidly. Right, that's something all of you could whip up, I'm sure, for your family. And if you take any photos, please do send them through to me. I'd absolutely love to see. But that's it. Well done, boys. Give it a go and let me know how you get on.